Good evening and welcome to the special board meeting of the Ames Community School District. I'll take approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Briggs, seconded by Perez. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 7-0. Director Deerdorf, would you please read the mission statement?
The mission of Ames Community Schools is to ensure that all learners develop the knowledge, skills, attitudes, values, and personal esteem necessary to grow in and shape a changing society.
Thank you. And our sole action item tonight is addressing the search firms for the superintendent search. Do I have a motion, or we can have some discussion first? We have to have a motion, yeah.
Have to have the motion first?
Yep.
Okay. I move the board contract Riaan Associates as the superintendent search consulting firm.
Second.
Moved by Perez, seconded by Deerdorf. Discussion. I can lead the discussion because I have provided all of you with some information. Following our last meeting, you did all direct me to get back in contact with some of the references to ask some more specific information about their experiences in working with the two firms, the consultants, and I really tried to get a hold of school districts that had worked with consultants that had been presented by the two firms. Asked them about their responsive or directed search process, what the support is for consensus building by the consultants, and then if they would seek assistance from the firms again. And people were, those that I was able to get a hold of, they were willing to share their experiences. Some had really positive experiences to share. Some had some frustrations and concerns. And so that is the information that I have provided for you. And I would certainly field questions or discussion items from you on this.
I know I had requested more information on like-sized or comparable districts and the placement of administrators as to, say, duration that they stayed in that position.
Yep.
What did we learn on
yes,
that?
so and I kept to that, and that drove, I kept to the comparable size to our district. I tried to aim for those had comparable size. Maybe they were in a community that also had an institute of higher education, because I sometimes think that impacts us. So I was able to keep to that with these. Of those that I was able to contact, only one had used the firm the second time, and it was, I believe it was District 2 under Riaan Associates, that they had used them, and they had used them 10 years ago, and they were pardon me, it's District 3, and they had positive experiences with them, and so they repeated their use with them as well. So, but that was the only one that, there were some that talked about their switches and searches, but switches and superintendents within 5 years, but they had not used the firms that we were looking at.
I guess that what I'd like to say is thank you first, Lisa, for all your work on this. You spent a ton of time going through this, and I appreciate all that. I think in reviewing all the information and all the feedback we received, the matrix is fairly balanced between McPherson and Ray. The reason I seconded the motion is I feel we should go forward with Ray, primarily because I have concerns which we kind of all voiced at that work session regarding the consultants for McPherson and Jacobson. Primarily the feedback from District 1 that said opposed to participation by our business group, 2 community members reported rude consultants. So I think this is so vitally important. Part of our research here is the stakeholder feedback we get. And so making sure we have a firm that understands the importance of that, in addition to some of the demographic concerns we had during our discussions too, leads me to recommend going with Ray for this time.
Yeah, reading the report, I was kind of even on both, but reading this, I'm kind of not impressed with the part on the stakeholders take from one of the firms. So I would support Ray in this scenario, because I feel that it's important to have the stakeholders' opinion, and I don't want that to be construed in any way.
One of the things I did follow up with Linda Brock on, if you recall, we discussed that Ames did use Ray & Associates in 2006, and there was not longevity with that search, the result of it, and we talked through what the stakeholder experience was in that search, because it did not, from what I was hearing from district staff, it was not consistent with the process that they presented. And she was not a part of the search in 06, neither she nor Dale Munson were, and she had concerns with that as well, what she heard, and was going to do some research, because she really felt like the process that they presented, that it is very wise to involve stakeholders. They would encourage that, and they would desire to help us in that process as we work through that. So it was reassuring to hear that she had concerns with that. So, any other questions that I can field on this, or?
I'm just finishing looking over the materials you've given us, and thank you again also for putting it together. But going forward, though, I'd ask that we receive these things in a timely fashion. So, for example, if I'd gotten this even yesterday, I would have been more prepared for tonight.
Okay.
And you know, and yes, you know, from the background checks that you've done, it did give us a little more clearer details, and I will be supporting the motion to go with Ray & Associates. But again, going forward, if we could just, you know,
I was trying to, I had a couple, if you look at the bottom, there were a couple districts that had not gotten back to me with more information. I was trying to provide them because I had contacted them again, but it didn't come. So I understand.
Thanks.
Duly noted. So.
I will say that while I have my reservations about Ray & Associates, given our own district's past experience, they did score, for me personally, higher on the matrix. And looking at the matrix of other members of this panel, it would appear that they did score substantially better than the other. And I think my only air of caution is to just make sure that the board maintains the utmost control over this process and does not allow this company or firm to kind of take over the process for us.
Yeah, and I think the first meeting is really important in that process, because that's when all of those things are defined for the school board, for the company. So that's really that will be an important meeting for all of us.
I'm really encouraged by the feedback that you got on them based off of our past experience, and how the people that we would be working with do meet with the board members individually and make sure they get as much input as possible, and they're willing to work with the public, and they're not getting dinged on that. So I'm pretty encouraged by that.
Elisa, in your follow-up with the firms, what was their sense of timeline? If we were able to execute on this, what are they looking at?
Yep. So if you remember, McPherson and Jacobson indicated their timeline, that they felt it would be pretty quick. They even, I said the first part of March, that they would be able to. Ray & Associates, they said that I just communicated that in my conversations with Dr. Taylor, we would really like to name somebody by the first part of April, so that we can hopefully get that person into our district a couple days before the school year is over, and that was very doable, 2 to 3 months max, and we will get started right away once we approve a firm, so. Any other discussion? All right, so the motion on the table, as a reminder, is to move the board contract with Ray and Associates as the superintendent search consulting firm. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passes 7-0. I'll take a motion for adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Briggs, seconded by Rosser. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you. We will reconvene in just under 20 minutes with Harry. Thank you.